Aaron Hale opened his eyes slowly, as if the world around him was made of dreams instead of real shapes. For a long moment, he did not move. He simply lay inside the smooth, shining crystal chamber that had held him for so many forgotten centuries. Soft blue lights glowed along the curved ceiling, casting a peaceful reflection on the glass-like walls. The chamber hummed with a gentle, steady sound, a sound that had remained unchanged for 15,000 years. Aaron did not know this yet. All he felt was a strange heaviness in his limbs and a peaceful quiet in his mind. His last memory was faint. A room full of scientists, a promise of exploration, and a gentle mist that had covered him before everything faded into silence. Now the silence was gone. The chamber opened with a soft breath of air. Aaron felt a warm breeze touch his face. His senses woke one by one. The scent of fresh mineral air filled his lungs. His heartbeat returned to a normal rhythm. Slowly, he sat up and touched the edge of the pod. The surface was cool, smooth, and familiar, yet everything else around him felt entirely new. He stood, a little unsteady, and looked around. The room was large, built from metal panels that had once been shiny. Time had softened their brightness. Dust danced like tiny stars in the blue light. A row of empty pods stretched along the wall, but all of them were cracked or dark. Only his pod remained alive, glowing gently like a guardian who had waited too long. Aaron frowned as he tried to recall why he had been placed here. He knew he had volunteered for something important, something meant to protect humanity or maybe preserve it. But his memory felt soft, like pages of a book washed by rain. He walked forward and touched the control panel near the door. Surprisingly, the screen lit up. The ancient system still recognized him. Welcome back, Aaron Hale. Stasis period. Complete, 15,000 years. Environment, safe. Aaron blinked. He read the number again. His breath paused for a moment. 15,000 years. It did not make sense. It could not be true. He touched the screen once more, hoping it was a malfunction. But the panel only repeated the message in calm, patient letters. His legs felt light as he stepped away. The world he remembered could not still exist. Everything he knew, cities, oceans, languages, people, stories, should be lost to time. He felt no fear, only a deep confusion. And somewhere inside that confusion, a spark of curiosity began to grow. Aaron walked toward the door. It opened slowly, releasing a soft golden glow from the hallway outside. He stepped into the corridor and found the familiar structure of the facility mixed with signs of great age. Vines, thin and glowing faint green, ran across the walls like gentle decorations. The metal floor was smooth, but small cracks showed where nature had slowly whispered its way inside. It did not feel abandoned. It felt transformed. Aaron moved carefully. His footsteps echoed softly. He touched a vine, surprised to feel a warm pulse under his fingertips, almost like a quiet heartbeat. The plant responded by glowing brighter, as if greeting him. Aaron smiled. Whatever world waited outside, it seemed alive in a new way. He reached the main control hall, where a circular window took up an entire wall. He approached it slowly, almost afraid of what he might see. When he placed his hand on the glass, the view outside made his breath catch. The sky was a gentle shade of violet, mixed with streaks of gold that shimmered like floating threads. Strange plants with wide, ribbon-like leaves grew across the land. Some leaves reflected light, making them look like pieces of sky fallen onto the ground. Tall trees with glowing fruit stood in clusters, and floating particles drifted above them like tiny lanterns. But the greatest surprise was the structures on the horizon, soft, curved shapes that rose from the land like large shells. They weren't made of metal or stone. They seemed grown rather than built, made of a material Aaron had never seen before. The world outside was nothing like the Earth he remembered. He stayed there for a long time, staring through the window, trying to understand how much had changed. Eventually, he stepped back and whispered to himself, "What happened to us? Did we leave? Did we vanish?" His voice was quiet, as if he didn't want the walls to hear him. Aaron explored more rooms, searching for any sign of old human activity, notes, recordings, or other stasis pods. But all he found were silent machines covered in soft, moss-like growth. The facility seemed to have become part of the landscape, blending the artificial and natural into a peaceful harmony. Finally, he found the exit. The door opened automatically, the ancient system still following its programming. Warm wind touched his face again, carrying a sweet scent he had never smelled before. He stepped outside and felt the soft ground under his feet, earth mixed with gentle glowing spores that lit up with every step he took. The sky was clearer here. The golden threads in the air moved like gentle waves. Everything seemed calm, almost welcoming. He looked around slowly, taking in every detail, trying to accept that this was no longer the world he knew. Then he saw movement. Far away, near a group of tall trees, he noticed several shapes walking slowly. They were slim, tall, and slightly luminous, their bodies reflecting the colors of the sky. They seemed curious, not hostile. Their heads were shaped differently from humans, with smooth, curved lines and soft, glowing patterns along their skin. Aaron froze, not out of fear, but out of awe. These were not humans. They were something new, something that had risen in the long years after humanity had disappeared or departed. The figures noticed him. They stood still, observing from a distance. Their glowing skin shifted softly, which looked almost like a silent conversation between them. Aaron wondered if they were trying to decide what he was, an old legend, a stranger, or something unexpected. He raised his hand slowly in a peaceful greeting. He did not speak. He simply offered the universal gesture that humans had used for ages, a quiet, open hand showing no harm. One of the luminous beings stepped forward. It moved gracefully, almost floating above the ground. When it came closer, Aaron noticed its eyes, large, gentle, and full of curiosity. The being tilted its head slightly, studying him. Its glow brightened around the edges, like a soft smile. Aaron felt an unexpected calm. The world was new, different, unfamiliar, but not empty, not dangerous, not frightening. The being pointed to his stasis facility, then to him, then to itself, as if asking a question. Aaron tried to speak. His voice was soft. "I woke up. I don't know what happened." The being watched him closely. It placed its hand on its chest and made a small circular motion that looked like a greeting. Aaron tried to imitate the gesture. The being's glow brightened with approval. More luminous figures approached slowly, keeping a respectful distance. They seemed fascinated by him, but also careful, almost as if he were something precious, something they had only heard stories about. Aaron realized then that whatever these beings were, they did not come as enemies. They came as curious watchers, perhaps even as friends. And for the first time since waking, Aaron felt a warm hope growing inside him. The world wasn't empty. It had simply changed, and now he had to discover what it had become. The luminous beings stood quietly around Aaron, their glowing outlines gentle like moonlight on calm water. None of them moved suddenly. Their presence felt peaceful, patient, and full of curiosity. Aaron felt like he had stepped into a storybook world where every creature carried a quiet wisdom. The leader, the being who had stepped forward first, made another small gesture. It pointed toward the distant shell-like structures on the horizon and then looked at Aaron as if inviting him to follow. Aaron hesitated only a moment. He looked back at the ancient facility where he had slept for 15,000 years. The vines glowed softly around its metal frame, almost protecting it. He realized there was nothing left for him inside. His old life was gone. The world had moved on without him. He took a gentle breath and nodded. The leader's glow brightened, a soft color shift that looked like relief or joy. Then it turned and walked with smooth, floating steps toward the distant city. Aaron followed. The walk was quiet, but not uncomfortable. The beings moved in a flowing pattern, almost like they were connected through an unseen rhythm. Their feet barely touched the glowing ground. Sometimes they paused to look back at Aaron, making sure he was comfortable. Aaron used the time to study them more carefully. Their bodies were tall and slim, shaped almost like humans, but more elegant, with long arms and smooth, curved heads. Their skin wasn't really skin. It looked more like translucent glass, with soft light shining from inside. Each being had a different color pattern, soft blues, gentle pinks, pale greens, that shifted whenever they expressed something. Their eyes were large, glowing slightly brighter than the rest of their bodies. Aaron wondered how they communicated. He hadn't heard a single spoken word. After a while, the leader slowed down and turned toward him. Its glow became warmer, almost golden. It touched its own chest lightly and made a slow, circular motion. "Lunari," it said in a soft, musical voice. Aaron felt a spark of excitement. They can speak. The word sounded gentle, as if shaped by wind and light. "Lunari," he repeated softly. The leader's glow brightened again, pleased. Aaron placed his hand on his own chest. "Aaron." The Lunari leader repeated the motion. "Areen," it said carefully, shaping the name with grace. The other Lunari behind them whispered his name with their soft voices. The sound felt welcoming, like a new beginning. As they walked further, the land changed. The glowing ground gave way to smooth paths made of pale stone that hummed with a faint energy. Trees with soft floating leaves lined the path, and small creatures with shimmering wings flew between them. The air grew warmer, filled with a gentle, soothing scent. Finally, they reached the base of the nearest shell-like structure. From up close, Aaron saw it wasn't made of stone or metal. It looked grown, like a giant, polished seashell that spiraled upward into the violet sky. Patterns of light flowed along its surface, forming moving shapes that resembled waves or clouds. The leader touched the shell gently. A soft doorway rippled open, like water parting. Aaron stepped forward slowly and entered. Inside, the structure was even more breathtaking. The walls glowed with gentle light, and transparent layers floated above the floor like drifting petals. The air was calm and warm. Everything felt alive, not like a building, but like a peaceful living space that welcomed guests. The Lunari moved with easy familiarity. Aaron walked beside them, feeling a mix of wonder and nervousness. He had stepped into a civilization completely different from his own. Inside a large open hall, a group of Lunari waited. Their glow shifted in soft waves as they observed Aaron. They seemed neither alarmed nor fearful, only very curious. The leader made a series of gentle motions, like a language of hands and light. The other Lunari responded with matching gestures. Aaron watched, fascinated. It looked like they were explaining where he had come from. Suddenly, one Lunari stepped forward. Its colors changed quickly, pale blue, then soft yellow, then a curious shade of white. It held a shimmering crystal tablet and offered it to Aaron. Aaron took it carefully. The moment his fingers touched the surface, the crystal lit up. Images appeared. Old symbols humans had created long ago. He recognized them even after 15,000 years. His breath caught. The Lunari had human artifacts. Aaron looked up in surprise. The Lunari watched him closely, waiting for a reaction. The leader stepped beside him, gently touching the edge of the tablet, and then placing its glowing hand on the chest again. "First builders," the leader said in its calm, musical voice. Aaron's eyebrows raised. "First builders?" The leader nodded. It pointed at the symbols on the tablet, then toward Aaron himself. Aaron slowly understood. "In your history," he said softly, "humans were the first builders?" The Lunari leader tilted its head and repeated with confidence. "Builders of early world, makers of knowledge, teachers from ancient time." Aaron felt a strange mixture of pride and sadness. If the Lunari saw humans as the first builders, that meant human history had shaped their civilization. But it also meant the Lunari believed humans were gone long ago, lost to time, leaving only echoes. And now he was here, standing in front of them as living proof that the ancient beings from their legends once existed. He touched the glowing tablet again. Human symbols danced across it, old words, diagrams, ideas. More appeared as the device synced with him. "How did you find this?" Aaron whispered. The Lunari leader stepped forward and placed a hand over its heart. "Found long ago," it said gently. "From Mountain of Silence. We protect." Aaron felt a warmth in his chest. These beings had not just found human technology, they had treasured it. They had seen something special in it, something they believed deserved respect. The leader motioned him to follow again. They entered another room, a circular chamber filled with floating panels of light. Each panel showed fragments of history, maps, symbols, shapes that looked like early designs of human machines. The Lunari gathered around Aaron, watching him with hopeful eyes. The leader pointed to the center of the room. A large, spherical device floated there, unmoving, covered in symbols that were unmistakably human. Aaron stepped close. The device glowed softly, reacting to his presence. "Archive of Echoes," the leader said, voice soft and reverent. "You can open?" Aaron raised his hand and touched the surface gently. The sphere lit up instantly. A warm golden glow filled the chamber. Lines of text and images floated outward, forming a halo around Aaron. The Lunari gasped softly as symbols rearranged into readable patterns. The archive had recognized Aaron's old-world identification signature. Aaron stared at the swirling lights in awe. The archive displayed a message recorded thousands of years before he entered stasis. The message explained parts of human history the Lunari had never known: why humanity left Earth, how they planned to return, and how they built the Silent Mountain facility as a safeguard. The Lunari gathered closer. Their lights shifted to deeper tones, full of wonder. "Will you teach?" one Lunari asked quietly, its voice soft like wind across water. Aaron looked around at the glowing faces, the peaceful city outside, the gentle world that had grown in humanity's absence. "Teach?" He felt a sense of purpose rise inside him. "I will," he said. The room brightened instantly as the Lunari glowed with joy. Aaron realized something profound. He was not only the last human awake, he was the bridge between ancient knowledge and a new world, and he was no longer alone. Aaron spent the next few days living among the Lunari, slowly learning about their world while teaching them about the ancient past. The glowing beings treated him with deep respect, but their respect was gentle, not heavy or uncomfortable. They saw him as someone rare and precious, someone who carried memories from a time they only knew through old symbols and fading stories. But Aaron didn't act like a legend. He simply tried to understand everything around him, step by step, the same way any curious person would. Each morning began the same way. A soft chime echoed through the city like the sound of crystal bells touched by a breeze. It meant the city was waking up. The sky shifted into warm pink shades. Floating lights gathered above the shell-like structures, drifting lazily like small lanterns greeting the day. Aren walked with the Lunari leader, whom he now called Lunara. The name seemed to fit her or him or perhaps them. Aren still wasn't sure how Lunari identified themselves. Their voices were soft and musical, and their glowing patterns communicated emotion more clearly than any spoken language. Lunara explained that the Lunari didn't build their homes, they grew them. Every structure in the city had started as a small, living seed. Over time, the seeds shaped themselves according to the needs of the community. They formed rooms, halls, windows, pathways, and calming spaces. Everything felt alive, but nothing felt dangerous. Aren found the experience comforting. The teaching began gently. A large circular chamber was prepared for Aren. Transparent seats grew from the floor, soft and warm to the touch. Lunari students, glowing in pastel shades, entered quietly and sat with smooth motions. They all had small crystal tablets, ready to record whatever Aren taught. Aren stood in the center, feeling a mix of nerves and excitement. He had never been a teacher before, but he knew he carried knowledge no one else in this world had. He cleared his throat. "Good morning," he said softly. The Lunari repeated the phrase, their voices rising like a soft chorus. "Good morning." Simple words, but spoken with warm curiosity. Aren smiled. He began the lesson by drawing a circle of light in the air using an ancient interface the Lunari had given him. The circle expanded, forming an image of Earth as it looked before his long sleep. Blue oceans, white clouds, vast continents. Some Lunari gasped quietly, their glow brightening. "This," Aren explained, "was our home. Your world now looks different, but this is where my people lived." He pointed to the continents and described how humanity once traveled across them. He talked about old cities, scientific discoveries, art, music, and the peaceful dreams humans had carried into the future. He avoided difficult topics. There was no need to discuss conflict or hardship. The Lunari did not need those details to understand the beauty of humanity's past. The Lunari listened with focused attention. Their glow shifted in soft waves, reflecting their amazement. At the end of the lesson, a young Lunari approached him. Its glow was a bright sky blue, flickering gently like excitement. It touched the tablet and projected a simple question. "Will your people return?" Aren paused. He wished he knew the answer. The archive had told many things, but not everything. Humanity had left Earth for reasons he still didn't fully remember. They had planned to return someday. But no part of the archive told him whether they ever did. He answered gently, "I do not know. But maybe this world can help me find out." The young Lunari's glow shifted to warm yellow, as if inspired. That evening, Lunara invited Aren to walk through the city. Floating lights drifted around them like fireflies. Soft music filled the air, a natural sound created by wind passing through the curved structures. "This world was shaped by your seeds," Lunara explained. Aren frowned slightly. "Seeds?" Lunara nodded with grace. "Long ago, your people placed small machines deep in the soil. Machines that learned. Machines that grew. They changed with the world and helped it renew." Aren's eyes widened. "Terraforming capsules." The word stirred faint memories in him. Scientists discussing designs. Glowing spheres being buried across continents. Promises of a world healed with time. Humanity had prepared Earth to recover, even if they wouldn't be here to see it. Lunara continued, "The capsules became part of the land. They shaped the plants that glow. They shaped our homes. They shaped us." Aren stopped walking. "You mean humans influenced your evolution?" Lunara placed a hand gently over their chest. "Not exactly. But your machines created a world where new life could grow in harmony. Over many ages we came from that harmony. Aaron felt a chill, not fearful but wondrous. The Lunari weren't just random new life. They were life shaped, indirectly, by humanity's attempt to heal the world before leaving it. He whispered softly, almost to himself, "We left a gift behind, and we didn't even know what it would become." Lunara looked at him, glow deepening in warm colors. "You are part of our beginning," they said, "and now part of our present." Aaron felt something meaningful settle in his heart. He was not simply a visitor. He was connected to their history. Days passed gently. The Lunari brought Aaron to places he had not yet seen. A floating garden, suspended by soft magnetic fields. A lake that glowed from within, filled with harmless luminescent life that moved like drifting stars. A library grown from living vines, each leaf holding recorded memories. Wherever he went, the Lunari watched him with warm curiosity. Some approached him to ask simple questions. What did the old sky look like? What music did humans make? Did humans dream the way we do? Why were you asleep for so long? Aaron answered each question with patience and care, always avoiding difficult or sensitive topics from the ancient world. He only shared things that would inspire, comfort, and connect. In return, the Lunari taught him about their society. They had no rulers. Decisions were made through shared harmony. Their glowing colors communicated thoughts, so misunderstandings rarely happened. They valued calm, learning, and connection with nature. Aaron admired the way they lived. Everything felt so balanced, so peaceful. But deep inside, a small, curious question kept returning. What happened to humans? Where did they go? Did they ever come back? Aaron hoped the archive would someday reveal more. One morning, Lunara brought Aaron to a large open field near the city's edge. The grass glowed softly under the warm sky. At the center of the field stood a tall stone pillar wrapped in gentle vines. "This is a place of memory," Lunara explained. "We keep the remains of old things here." Aaron stepped closer. The vines parted like a curtain. Inside the pillar was a piece of metal, preserved and shining faintly. Aaron stared at it in surprise, a piece of human spacecraft, old yet unmistakable. "How did you find this?" he asked. Lunara's glow dimmed gently, a sign of calm reflection. "It fell from the sky long ago when our world was still young. We did not know its meaning then. Now we know it was yours." Aaron touched the metal gently. It felt familiar, like touching a piece of his forgotten home. He closed his eyes for a moment. "This means humans reached space safely," he murmured. "This means we survived, at least for a while." Lunara placed a gentle hand near his shoulder, not touching, but close enough to show support. "You will learn more," Lunara said softly. "The world still has secrets." Aaron opened his eyes. Yes, there were secrets everywhere in this new world, and he felt ready to uncover them. For the first time, he didn't feel like someone who had lost 15,000 years. He felt like someone who had been given a new beginning, and the Lunari were now part of it. Aaron woke to the gentle morning chimes of the Lunari city. Soft light filtered into his room through thin glowing walls, creating moving patterns like water against stone. He stretched, feeling more rested than he had felt in a very long time. The world outside was peaceful, full of calm colors and gentle harmony, yet his mind was busy. There was something he could not stop thinking about. The metal fragment found in the memory field, the remains of an ancient human spacecraft, had awakened questions inside him. It meant humans had not disappeared suddenly. They had built, traveled, explored. They had tried to shape the future. But where were they now? That question echoed in Aaron's thoughts like a quiet voice calling from a long distance. He stepped outside. Lunara waited for him near a floating walkway, their glow soft and warm like morning sunlight. "You rested well?" Lunara asked gently. "Yes," Aaron replied with a smile. "But my mind is full of questions." Lunara's glow flickered with calm interest. "Then we shall find answers." They walked through the city together. Lunara explained that many ancient places still existed beneath the surface of the world, old vaults, archives, and silent stations built by humans long ago. Most had remained untouched because the Lunari respected history deeply. They believed these places belonged to the past and should remain undisturbed unless needed. Aaron felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Exploring old human structures felt like opening a doorway into forgotten memories. As they moved closer to the edge of the city, the glowing plants grew taller and the air became cooler. A quiet pathway led them toward a hill shaped like a gentle wave. At its base, covered by vines, was a circular entrance with human symbols carved into the stone. Aaron brushed a hand over the carvings. "This writing, I know this." The symbols spelled out a simple message. Earth Preservation Vault. Access through harmony. Lunara nodded. "This place has been closed for many ages, but you may open it." Aaron placed his hand on the center of the circular door. It glowed softly, as if recognizing his touch. Lines of light spread across the surface, moving outward like delicate branches. A soft hum filled the air. The door opened. Inside, the air was surprisingly fresh. Soft lights flickered awake along the walls. The tunnel curved gently downward, welcoming them inside like an ancient hallway remembering its purpose. Aaron stepped forward slowly. Lunara followed, their glow illuminating the smooth, metallic surfaces. The deeper they went, the more familiar the place felt to Aaron. It reminded him of science stations from the past, quiet, clean, and organized. Finally, the tunnel opened into a large chamber. Aaron stopped, speechless. The room was filled with floating spheres of light, suspended in perfect patterns. Each sphere held images, old landscapes, human faces, early cities, star maps. It was a memory archive preserved for anyone who could read it. Lunara looked around with wonder. "We have seen the surface symbols but never entered. We did not know there was so much inside." Aaron nodded slowly. "This is a human knowledge vault, made to protect learning. It must have been waiting for someone with the right identification to open it." He walked toward one of the spheres. The moment he reached out, the sphere brightened and projected a message. A voice spoke, calm, clear, familiar. Aaron froze. It was his own voice. "Preservation log. Final entry," the recording said. "If you are hearing this, then Earth has completed its recovery cycle. The seed capsules should now be fully integrated into the ecosystem. Future life will grow in harmony." Aaron felt his heart tighten gently. This was a message he had recorded before entering stasis. The message continued. "We do not know what form life will take, but we hope it will be gentle. If any of us awaken in the future, we must learn from what the world has become. And we must not repeat old mistakes." Lunara watched him quietly, their glow softening. Aaron took a deep breath. The recording ended with a simple statement. "We leave behind knowledge, not control. Whoever finds this world in the future, it belongs to them, not to us." The vault grew silent. Aaron turned to Lunara slowly. "All of this, it was made for you," he said softly. Lunara placed a hand over their chest, touched by the message. "Your ancestors were wise to leave peace." Aaron nodded. They hoped the new world would grow freely. As they walked deeper into the vault, a second chamber opened before them. It looked older, dustier, filled with shapes covered by fabric. Aaron lifted one carefully. Underneath was a curved device, glowing faintly. A communicator, but not an ordinary one. Its design matched star communicators used by the early space fleets. Aaron's heart skipped. "This could tell us where humans went," he whispered. Lunara leaned closer. "Can it still work?" Aaron touched the surface gently. The communicator lit up, projecting a faint star map. Lines connected stars across the galaxy, forming paths humans had once traveled. Some paths glowed brighter, recently used, at least relative to ancient time. Aaron studied the map carefully. Humans had left Earth not because of danger, but because they wanted to explore new worlds. The map showed dozens of travel routes, each ending in small glowing symbols that looked like peaceful outposts. "They settled elsewhere," Aaron murmured. "They built new homes." Lunara's glow warmed. "Then you are not the last." Aaron smiled softly. "Maybe not. Maybe my people are out there somewhere, living quietly, building new futures." But then something else caught his eye. A soft pulse at the very edge of the star map. A place circled gently in light. A beacon. A message repeating in soft-coded waves. Aaron tapped it. A warm tone filled the chamber. Lunara tilted their head. "What does it say?" Aaron listened closely. It wasn't a distress signal. It wasn't a warning. It was a simple recording from long ago. A calm human voice spoke. "To any who awaken after the long sleep, do not be afraid. The world you return to may be different, but it is part of our journey. Let new life grow. Let new people rise. And if you choose to search for us, follow the path of harmony. We will always welcome you." Aaron felt a warmth spread through him. They were not lost. They had simply moved forward, trusting the world to heal. He turned to Lunara. "I don't know if we can reach them. It might take time, learning, and new technology. But the message is clear." Lunara's glow brightened gently. "They believed in the future." "And so do I," Aaron said. Before leaving the vault, Aaron and Lunara stood for a while in the center chamber, watching old memories float gently like drifting lights. The vault didn't feel like a place of sadness. It felt like a place of beginnings. "You have brought harmony to our world," Lunara said softly. "We will walk with you as you search for answers." Aaron nodded. "And I will share all I know." They stepped out of the vault into the warm, glowing daylight. The city shimmered in the distance, peaceful and alive. Aaron felt different now, stronger, more connected. He was no longer a relic from the past. He was part of the story that continued into the future. He looked at Lunara. "There is more to learn," he said. "I think this world still holds many secrets." Lunara nodded. "Then we will discover them together." And the journey toward truth began. Aaron stood on the deck of the Lunari vessel as it glided smoothly across the surface of the calm ocean. The water shimmered with soft blue light, reflecting the energy lines that ran along the underside of the ship. Even after spending weeks with the Lunari, he still found their technology beautiful in a gentle and peaceful way. Nothing about their machines felt loud or forceful. Everything was soft, floating, and full of warmth. He closed his eyes for a moment and breathed in the fresh ocean air. It felt strange. After 15,000 years of silence and darkness, the world now felt more alive than his memories. The breeze carried a sweet scent, the sky shifted through colors he had never seen before, and small glowing birds flew in patterns above the waves. He opened his eyes when he heard light footsteps behind him. It was Lyra, the Lunari historian who had guided him since he first woke from the crystal chamber. Like all Lunari, her skin held a soft glow, almost like gentle moonlight. But her glow was slightly warmer today, which he had learned meant she was excited. "We will reach the signal point soon," she said with a hopeful tone. "The readings are becoming clearer." Aaron nodded. "I still can't believe it lasted this long." "The humans who made it must have cared a great deal," she replied. "A message that waits for thousands of years. It is a beautiful idea." Aaron looked down at the small device in his hand. It displayed the same repeating symbol, an ancient human signature he recognized from his work in the old world. To think that something made before he entered stasis was still calling out across time, it made him feel connected to a past he barely remembered. Lyra tilted her head, watching him. "Are you comfortable?" "I'm all right," he said with a faint smile. "Just thinking. I woke up believing the world was empty, and now I'm heading toward a message from my own people. It feels unreal." She stepped beside him, her voice gentle. "You are not alone anymore, Aaron. Whatever we uncover, you have us." He appreciated her words more than he could express. The Lunari had treated him with kindness since the moment he stepped into their world. They asked questions, yes, but never in a forceful or demanding way. They wanted to understand him, not control him, and that simple difference made him feel safe. A soft chime rang across the vessel. "We have arrived," said the ship's pilot through the intercom. Aaron and Lyra walked to the front platform. The ocean below grew darker, touched with hints of silver light spiraling upward. A soft hum vibrated through the air. "This is it," Lyra whispered. A circular boundary appeared on the ship's navigation screen. Directly beneath it lay the source of the ancient signal, an underwater vault built by humans long ago. The Lunari vessel descended gently onto the surface of the water, and a transparent platform extended downward, creating a path beneath the waves. The water parted around the platform, forming a clear tunnel that led to the glowing structure below. Aaron stepped forward slowly, his heart beating faster than usual. He didn't feel fear. It was more like the deep emotion of facing something meaningful. The vault was round and smooth, shaped almost like a pearl. Soft, warm light pulsed from its center, echoing the rhythm of the signal. As Aaron approached, the vault reacted. A low, soothing tone filled the underwater tunnel, and a symbol appeared above the entrance. His old research insignia. Lyra gasped softly. "It recognizes you." Aaron placed his hand near the glowing symbol. The vault opened with a gentle shift, like petals unfolding. Inside, warm light filled the space, and a holographic figure appeared. Not a real person, but a projection shaped by old human technology. The figure spoke calmly, with a voice Aaron had not heard in 15,000 years. "Welcome. If you are seeing this message, then much time has passed since humanity departed Earth." Aaron froze. He recognized the tone, the style of speech. This was from the final mission briefings. Humans had left the planet, not because it was failing, but because it needed time to heal. They believed Earth would one day give rise to new life. The projection continued. "We did not intend to vanish forever. We planned to return when the world was ready. But circumstances changed, and our path did not bring us back here. This vault was created to guide whoever discovers it, human or not. Earth is not a place to claim. It is a home meant to be shared." Lyra listened silently, her eyes wide with gentle wonder. The message went on, explaining that the vault stored knowledge, maps, seeds, and records, gifts for the next civilization that grew after humanity. The humans hoped their creations would help the planet flourish, even without their presence. Aaron felt a warm ache in his chest. He had feared awakening in a world where humans had left behind only ruins. But instead, he stood inside proof that humanity cared deeply for the future. The projection ended with a final sentence that felt more personal than anything before. "To the one who awakens from the long sleep, You are not the last. You are a bridge between what was and what will be. The vault dimmed softly after delivering its message. For a long moment, neither Aaron nor Lyra spoke. The silence was gentle, not heavy. Finally, Lyra turned to him. Your people left hope behind. Not fear, not control, only hope. Aaron nodded slowly. They wanted the future to grow without limits. And it did, she said with a warm smile. We are here. They returned to the vessel above, and the ship lifted back into the open air. The sky glowed with soft pink and violet colors as the sun began to rise. Aaron watched the light spread across the horizon, touching the ocean with a golden shimmer. Lyra stood beside him once again. What will you do now? Aaron exhaled softly. I think I want to stay. Not because I belong to the past, but because I want to help build what comes next. You will always have a place with us, she said gently. You carry the memory of the humans who came before, but your future can be with those who are here, now. He looked at her, and then at the peaceful world around him. The Lunari were not humans, but they were kind, thoughtful, and full of curiosity. They had taken care of Earth in ways humanity had once dreamed of. The world was not empty. It was thriving. Aaron felt something he hadn't felt in a long time: belonging. As the sun rose fully, its light warmed his face. The air shimmered softly, carrying the scent of new beginnings. He stood at the edge of the ship and watched the world come alive. Waves sparkled like countless small stars, floating islands shifted gently in the distance, and Lunari gliders sailed through the sky with graceful movements. Aaron smiled. I'm ready, he said quietly. Lyra looked at him with gentle pride. Then let us walk this new world together. The ship sailed toward the horizon, carrying Aaron and the Lunari into a future connected by curiosity, kindness, and the shared hope left behind by ancient humans. Aaron no longer felt like a relic of the past. He felt like a part of the living world, a piece of the earth that had been waiting for him. And as the light grew brighter, he understood something simple and beautiful. The world wasn't empty anymore. It never was. He had simply needed to wake up to see it.